welcome to the Gravel Trap Podcast. I'm your host, Sean, and on today's show, I've got fellow co hosts, Zin, Chris, and Don. How's it going, guys?
It's a going. It's a going.
It's going.
Finally
Cool,
got a
cool.
goddamn day off tomorrow.
Well, Don
Don's
is
glad he's got a
experiencing
day off
adulthood.
tomorrow.
7 days straight when I first started, then 2 days off, and then 6 days in a row. I'm like, what the
Yeah. Yeah, I know how that is. I
beautiful thing
worked
of
all
retail.
last weekend, or didn't work all last weekend, but I was at a car show pretty much all weekend, so which
I had
was
to get lost. Well, I should say lost. Almost didn't have a way back. Oops.
right. So yeah, that was fun to see some interesting motorcycles and expensive motorcycles and even more expensive cars.
So that
So
I'll never be able to afford someday.
right, yeah. So, but I entered my lowly car into it, and
You got stuck there.
well, I didn't get stuck there. I just didn't realize that when you sign up for the 2-day pass that they put you in a different part of the convention center,
You
and
you you get
it's there
special
overnight.
treatment.
Yeah, I was like, oh, that's cool. They put your car up on these like roller wheel things, and they wheel it into the spot, and then they take
Mhm.
it off the roller wheels, and then
Then you're done.
they put the caution tape and stuff around it so people aren't touching the cars and all that stuff. And I was like, oh, that's cool. And then yeah, I was getting close to the end of the show, and I was like, oh, so do we just leave at the end of the day? They're like, no, you signed up for the 2 days, so your car's here. I was like, oh. text
Well,
text my
yeah.
roommate. I need a ride because I was not planning for that.
Can you help me, please?
So yeah, something to note for next year. If I decide to do it, I'll
Bring a moped.
either that or just do the. You could technically sign up. It's the same price. It was either $10 for the 2 days or $5 for each day. So I
Mhm.
mean, I
You
could,
should do the $5 for each day.
yeah, I could technically just do the $5 for each day and just pull my vehicle in and out. So noted for next year. Anyway, get moving on to some sim racing news here for us. So,
Uh,
our first little topic here this past weekend, me and Zin did the Road America 500 on iRacing, which is the old Nissan GTP and the 90s Audi, which was the GTO class for back in the day.
Surprise, surprise. How do we do?
Well, classic, you know,
that's like our luck.
Can change the
classic our
name,
luck.
but can't change the look.
Yeah. Um,
Death.
I don't know. I mean, Zin was doing really well. He kept the car clean as possible. I had a couple little mistakes there. Um, I did apparently me getting around somebody that was smashing into the wall and bumping somebody warranted me on my next freaking stint to get completely taken out. So
Yeah.
Did you report him?
I did. I got the response back from iRacing that says parties have been notified and actions have been taken, or the generic,
Mumbo jumbo.
Yeah.
you know
Just hey, don't do that again. Probably on their end.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was just it was unfortunate luck. I mean, it was all set up by a previous stint of Sean's that GTP was being boneheaded as prototype drivers are, and in the run from the kink to Canada corner, turn around, the guy bounced off the wall, and Sean was trying to avoid him while also trying to avoid two Audis, and was paying attention to the GTP, and went to go swerve at the last minute and kind of net code slammed into the back of the Tic Tac Audi, who then went bowling into the third place Audi in front of them. Didn't really even give them that much damage, and
Yeah.
yeah, then the next stint, Sean was going around the third place Audi and gave him plenty of room, and the guy just comes across the track like, didn't even care that he was there, and then just I was like, said something over the radio, no response. So I direct messaged him, and then all of a sudden he comes back over the radio and he's like, "Oh, did I not leave you enough room? Like, sorry." I'm like,
You dumbass.
"No, we're just messaging you out of the goodness of our heart to tell you that you're a crappy driver."
Ah,
Right.
No, we love you. We
So,
love you so much.
yeah.
So yeah.
So, and then and then while we were talking, the Tic Tac team decided that they wanted to chime in and bitch and complain, and
who's driving
then
was there? Were they complaining about?
well, that was the car that Sean really killed by pure
Yeah.
accident, and then used as a bowling ball to take out the other Audi that ended up taking us out. And then in Sean's last stint, or maybe it was my stint, I don't remember. We were passing them, and they took a swipe at us. The Tic Tac car did. You
Ooh.
remember that, Sean?
Yeah. That was when you
Yeah.
were in the car.
Okay. Yeah, I couldn't remember. Yeah, they took a swipe at us on the run down to turn 5. We're
Really?
just like, yeah, it's like, what the fuck is wrong with these people? So, I mean, the shitty part was we were running good pace. I think we were 7th at the time when it happened, and it just plummeted us down the order. So,
Yeah.
Typical Buzz the Tower old luck.
yeah, it's nothing we could really do about it, unfortunately.
Yeah, it's a shame because it was a pretty fun race for the most part. We weren't,
Yeah.
lightning fast like the leader guys were, but we were
Competitive.
trying to keep our nose as clean as possible.
Mhm.
And we were picking off cars, that were making mistakes and that were running faster pace than us and going from there. So
I mean, with those cars, it's all about keeping your front end straight.
right. Yeah.
I mean, I
So,
was having a real blast with the car. We'd spent the past week or so just learning the car, figuring out what was best for clutch settings, and how to shift the damn thing so we didn't grenade
I
the
was like, you can grenade it.
transmission. Yeah, and I mean, I was having a real blast driving it. I think Sean would say the same thing too. So it's just like we didn't really make any mistakes. I mean, I had one spin with a guy that was being real and he was really kind of jacking around with his defensive driving, and I just kind of drove into the back of him in turn 5, and
mm,
self spun thanks to iRacing's wonderful crash physics. And that dropped us a couple spots, but I mean, outside of that, we didn't really make any mistakes, and we avoided all of the carnage pretty much. And then just to have that guy decide that he wanted to,
You dick.
Play God.
yeah, it's just whatever.
unnecessary.
Yeah, exactly. So just chalk it into the bin of all the other what could have been endurance races we've done.
Oh, there's
Yeah, could you
that bin's
imagine
full.
if as many times as we've been taken out, if we just decided we were going to start swiping people off the track, how many people we could have taken out over
Oh
our
yeah,
years plus of doing sim racing? Like, we've been taken out quite a bit. We could have gotten banned a few times for doing that move that,
oh yeah.
that guy pulled on
Our
us.
villain arc could have started 20 times over.
Oh,
I think the only thing that's happened is I've actually taken out people, and that's been the list of murdering.
Yeah, that was probably about one of the most egregious things to happen to us since probably Derek's incident that he had.
Yeah, it was almost a carbon copy of Derek's, just opposite direction and not quite as big of a gap between. the cars.
Derek is somehow just his first couple of weeks on iRacing were quite interesting because it was just a meme for him at that point.
Right. So,
Like all the things that couldn't you think, okay, it's not gonna happen to me. When you see it on Reddit, it happens to you.
right.
mhm.
But I don't know. I mean, if I've got the weekend off next year when it comes around again, hopefully it stays around on the schedule and stuff. I know next year they'll probably have the 6 hour at at Road America for IMSA doing their 6-hour endurance event, but I mean, hopefully,
Yeah, I mean, I think it's popular enough that there's no reason the two have to, cannibalize each other. I think
yeah.
that you can
And they're in
really
two
do
opposite
both.
ends of the season too. One's in the spring, one's in the fall, going to be in the late summer to fall. So
Yeah, and you can still call it the Road America 500 because that's not what IMSA is going to call their race. It's a true 6-hour endurance. So, I mean, I'm trying to think if they've ever done outside of Daytona Road Course versus Daytona Oval, if they've done endurance races, special events at the same track before. But I don't know. It's a different enough thing that they should keep it around. I'm in favor of keeping it.
yeah, definitely. So anyway, well, our crappy luck strikes again.
Yep.
So go
All
buy a lottery ticket. We might win that.
Yeah, right.
I did that with Scratch House and didn't win, so no.
All right. Moving on to our next sim racing topic here. This article is from traction.gg. It says EA Sports WRC will not get a sequel. This was confirmed by Codemasters. It says when EA Sports WRC recent Hard Chargers DLC was released, it felt like Swan Song today, April. This is on April 30th. Codemasters has confirmed our fears, announcing that Hard Chargers content pack will be the final expansion, with the studio pausing development on future rally titles. After releasing the game in 2003, the 2024 season included a recent Hard Chargers content pack. Will be our last expansion, Codemasters said in a statement. For now, we are pausing development plans on future rally titles. Rest assured, EA Sports WRC will continue to be available for existing and new players. We hope it remains a source of joy, excitement, and the thrill of the rallying game or rally racing. We've poured our hearts into making it for our fans, and we know you'll keep the passion alive. Our WRC partnership was a culmination of sorts for our Codemasters journey with off-road racing spanning decades through titles like Colin McRae and Dirt. We've provided a home for every rally enthusiast striving tirelessly to push the boundaries and deliver an exhilarating thrill and driving on the ragged edge. We've brought together incredible talent of racing developers, worked with some of the sports icons, and had an opportunity to share our love of rallying. Thank you to all the fans who have continued to be a part of our rally journey. The news follows a recent round of layoffs at EA, but it's not clear if staff at Codemasters are directly affected. And then the article goes in and says Codemasters secured the rights for the WRC game in 2020, and the deal was originally supposed to end in 2027. It marked the first time the studio used the license in 18 years since 2022. Colin McRae Rally 3. Sadly, this seemingly marks the end of Codemasters' long rally lineage, with the studio responsible for obviously Colin McRae and the Dirt games. Let's see, the WRC game was launched using the Unreal 4 engine and a mix of modern and classic rally cars, including the 2023 championship. Stages were noticeably longer than previous games. Meanwhile, Codemasters Birmingham studio will continue to helm the F1 series, with F1 25 due out in May. With development of future rally games paused, this means F1 could become Codemasters' only racing game going forward in the franchise. So
Great.
yeah, it's unfortunate to hear that. I mean, I generally have played I've played the WRC game. It's a lot of fun to hop in and just you know tool around on rally stages and stuff like that. It's definitely a good mix of either between arcade-ish and hardcore. Not as extreme as like a dirt as the dirt rally games, but definitely is a fun game to play. If you're into rally racing, I would definitely go check it out. But yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it never quite got to the Richard Burns rally level of hardcore or simulation, but it was a good pick up and play game. It just sucks for the Codemasters team that it would appear is gonna possibly cease to exist, but I'm hoping that EA might do the right thing and just kind of
Let them go.
peel them off and either let them go be their independent selves again or have the opportunity for another studio to acquire them.
Or I
Right.
guess what I think is gonna happen is they're gonna cease to exist and they're just gonna reform into something else at that point.
Well, because it's not just WRC, the F1 license is up at the end of this year too. So F1 25 that just was announced today or yesterday, very well could be the last F1 game from Codemasters.
I hope not, but
So
I mean, that Codemasters F1 game has had a lot of criticism over the years too.
well, it's because it's EA. That's the problem. It's EA's influence into it. So I'm hoping that I don't know. I mean, EA is like any modern corporation. They're all
Money
caring about
hungry, money
the
focused.
bottom line.
it's kind of like how
And
Battlefield
so
2042 was like, hey, you know what's a great idea? All tornadoes.
And then
Yeah.
they spent like 6 years trying to fix it.
Yep.
but so I mean they're not gonna want to just give them away for nothing, you know. So if another studio is interested in maybe buying the assets or buying Codemasters, they're gonna want the money for it. I just hope that wherever they land, they're under the leadership to be able to exercise their creativity and go back to things that worked in the past. Because like I said, everybody's right in what they say. EA used to be the pinnacle, and at some point in the late 2000s, early
Yep.
2010s, they just were like, ooh, like Gollum with his precious, and we're just like, ooh, dollar, my money, or Mr. Krabs, my money, you know,
Me
and
money,
that's all like,
Mr.
yeah, and so everything they touched was just like, how can we milk this thing for the least amount of effort and the most amount of money to be charged and microtransactions, this and
Don't
you
forget you had to buy the game new to play online.
know,
Or you
yeah,
had to-
Wait,
you
what?
know, and it was that way across the
Mhm.
board. You know, it was with the Madden franchises, with Battlefield, it was with
Yep.
F1 and WRC,
Remember
it
that,
was with
Chris?
Need for Speed. I mean,
I didn't
everything
know that.
that was peak
Yep.
had
They-
just completely fallen into the bin.
EA is living off nostalgia.
Yeah, but
They're
the
not
thing
even living
is,
off nostalgia.
No, they just want
Well,
money.
not anymore. They used to be. Like if the mid 2010s, they were living off of nostalgia.
I
And that bit them in the
mean,
ass.
the freaking Dragon Age game did not do well at all. The new one that just came out. They just announced that the Titanfall 3 project or whatever that they were working on has been binned.
It sucks because I love Titanfall.
Yeah, they had a like a quarterly or half finished game that they just when they killed the studio that was making Titanfall or this Titanfall 3 game,
Respawn, I
they
think.
just basically threw all that progress in the dumpster.
And they cut their deadlines way too short, and expect the full game within like a year that hasn't really been tested, tried, or gone through.
Yeah.
It's just it's not a good look when you have to when you kind of just look at the scope of things and just see where they're coming from.
Yeah. I don't know. And that's kind of a broader problem for the gaming
Industry as a
genre
whole, yeah.
in general is a lot of these companies that used to I mean,
really good.
look at the scrutiny that Ubisoft's under right now, and how freaking popular everything they used to have with the early Tom Clancy series games and the Ghost
Oh,
Recon.
Fable.
I mean, and
Well,
stuff like that, and the early Assassin's Creed games and stuff. I mean, now it's just I mean,
when you milk Rainbow Six Siege to the point of it's no longer Rainbow Six Siege, I think it's time to start over.
Well, I mean, the crappy thing is that inadvertently these studios peaked so early on that they're at a loss for what the next genuinely good idea is, and it's not just in video games, it's in the movie industry too. Is everything's just regurgitated or remakes or reboots, or
Mm-hmm.
there's nothing original, there's nothing that is like, oh my gosh, that feels fresh, and that's enticing to go experience that. And that's not like, sometimes it works. I mean, they brought back, for instance, with EA, since we're talking about it, they brought back NCAA college football, but it's basically just reskinned Madden, with a couple of different game modes and
mhm.
experiences and stuff, versus, back in the day, it felt very different. And then you were able to take that and put it into the Madden experience, which had its own gameplay style and everything. And
Yeah.
so
Actually, I think football actually felt better than Madden.
Right, exactly. Yeah. And
Because,
and
well,
now, like I said, they play almost exactly the same, which is frustrating to those of us like myself that was like, we really enjoyed NCAA because it was not as frustrating to play as Madden was.
the thing is, though, NCAA football used to be the kind of like a demo to Madden, so they would test with NCAA football and see how people like it. And if they liked it, then they would put in Madden games. That's what they
Right,
used to do.
right.
Right, but because the game franchise has been gone so long, it's now kind of the
Yeah.
opposite way, or like Zin was
Yeah.
saying, the exact same game, because they don't have time to, because essentially I mean, I imagine it's more than likely roughly the same group of people developing the NCAA game as developing
Well,
Madden.
that one last year was like a different version, but they were using a different version of Madden, so it wasn't pure Madden. But
Well, I'm talking about, I almost wonder if you have the same development team making both games. So now, instead of
I don't know. Yeah,
you focusing on one game, now they
yeah,
maybe are split focusing on both of them. So you just copy paste and change. Obviously, you swap out, the NFL teams for as many college football teams as you've got licenses for.
right.
So,
Okay.
you
Yeah,
kind
and,
of,
and I mean, it certainly felt that way on the gameplay side. Like all the pace of the game and how the players, interacted with the inputs on the controller and stuff seemed very similar with Madden as it did with NCAA, and vice versa. It had a fresh coat of paint, because you had, the recruiting and, the
right.
slightly different story and career elements that were different than what you had with Madden. But the physical gameplay itself in the game felt very similar, to your point, that it was almost the same team that was working on it, or they just took the Madden and, used that as the base and did minor stuff to make it say it's different, but in reality
Right.
it's not.
Which, I mean, it makes sense financially, because then you don't have to change anything. You know, but that's,
Yeah.
But
like
again,
I
that
said.
goes back to their emphasis on making profits instead of making games that
Oh yeah,
are, it's hard to believe that it's the same company that at one point was making, Underground and Underground 2 and stuff, and now we have Heat. You're like, yeah, it's Need for Speed in name only, but it's missing that X factor that. And I get it. It's hard to figure out what exactly it was, and for a lot of people, it's just, well, we were young and it was, we
We
could
were
play it
young,
till three
Fast
o'clock
and
in the
Furious was
morning.
out, and it was pretty much around that time where it worked.
Yeah. So, I mean, would I rather live in a world where we didn't have Need for Speed and Madden and F1 and whatnot? No, but am I happy with the state of them today? No, so
Right. Yeah, and I mean it's unfortunately the only way you can basically tell EA or all these companies that you don't like the way that they're running things is you vote with your wallet.
yeah.
So,
And
but the
unfortunately, that puts
shitty
people
part
out of work.
is, yeah, and there comes the shitty part is it's like, yeah, we don't like this game, but guess what? And they're just gonna until they figure it out, they're just gonna do the cheap option, which is, well, we just scrap the team, get a different team in here, and
hmm
see what happens. So
Yeah, it's the same thing that Activision goes through with having 3 or 4 different studios rotating in and out on the Call of Duty stuff, and
right,
um, it's just it's one of those things that the other thing
It's
too
the
is get rid of all the stupid ass microtransactions. That ugh.
that
that can go to the wayside. I think that's universally agreed on. It's like just ruining most games at this
it's
point
universally agreed on, but guess what?
They like
It ain't
money.
going
Everybody's doing it.
nowhere.
because it makes
Yeah.
money because people are buying it.
Yeah, I
Charles.
mean that's my biggest freaking gripe with Call of Duty is they would rather not improve the game and instead spend the time having the developers put in new fucking packs and shit because they know people are gonna, stupid ass,
They're
15-year-olds are gonna have
For Sean.
money and spend money on getting the packs and stuff, and they're going, well, it's making us money, so why are we gonna waste time on something that's not gonna make us money because they already have the game in one way or another, because otherwise they couldn't bitch about the state of the game if they didn't have it.
Right.
there's
But you've got your
one.
two biggest examples of games that are making millions and millions of dollars a year, and they're using microtransactions to do it, and it's Fortnite and it's Grand Theft Auto.
Yeah.
I mean, that's
But in
so
reality, it was all kicked off by EA. So
well. I understand that, but
It was
uh,
started under EA and perfected under Epic
some
Games.
well, actually, it's technically perfected under Rockstar because Grand Theft Auto earns almost $500 million each year
Yeah,
in shark cards, which is
yeah.
astronomical to
I
think
didn't even
about.
realize that was that much. Jesus,
Oh yeah, there's a reason why GTA 6 has a $3 billion budget
they're
to
expecting to
make the
spend
game.
this ball. They're expecting to make back the first year $1
Oh
billion
yeah.
on.
Oh yeah, as soon as they release GTA Online for 6,
Mm-hmm.
it's over. I mean, you're going to have people freaking I mean, there's people right now. How old is Grand Theft Auto 5 the
God,
online
Years.
and yeah, and people are still spending
I played
hundreds
it
of
a lot.
dollars each month or week or whatever on those shark cards
we're at a
and buying the
point.
shit that they put in the game. They've perfected it, and all these other companies keep looking at that model, and a lot of people go, "Don't do that," but then they look over here and they see two
Money.
games in
Yeah,
GTA and Fortnite making $1 billion a year, and it's like,
Kinda hard not to.
it's working here. We're gonna try
it's
to get into it.
it's mainly. I feel like it's mainly because there's no passion anymore, or there. I mean, there's passion,
No,
but it's kind of snuffed out.
there's passion. There are projects that are being made that, and we'll get into it in our next topic here. Games that are being made. I mean, the indie market right now is really hot
Hot.
still for games and stuff. I mean, there are, like I said, there is passion out there. It's just uh, you have these giant corporations running, you know, the EA and all them, and they're just
Mm-hmm.
gonna, if they don't make the buck, then they're just gonna move on to what's next. So
Yeah, GTA 5 came out 12 years ago. It'll be 12 years this year.
Yeah,
There are people who are playing GTA 5
the online
that
came
have,
out a year after that, so
There are
11
people who,
years.
oh my god, that's there are people who are probably playing GTA 5 that were not alive when it was made.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, but it, like I said, they
Well, and I
anytime
mean
somebody,
that's yeah. I mean that's but yeah, you brought up GTA, and I think that really is a good example because that really, in my opinion, cratered the online experience because like they were their thought process was, well, we're not going to turn around and increase the payouts from doing the missions to where if you just grinded you could still get all the stuff. And when GTA Online first released for the first couple of years, like the most expensive thing in there was the Rhino tank. It was 1,000,000 credits, you
right?
know but now you've got new cars that come out in their packs that are like $20 million for like a Honda Civic, and you're just like, what? No, like it's supposed to be about this, community, and like they're promoting like doing stupid car shows and blah 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 blah.
Hmm.
But the only way that you can really do it is you either have to dedicate your entire life to it 24/7, or you buy the damn shark cards.
hmm So, or yeah, or you get in with the only other option in GTA is you legitimately have to have a dedicated club that goes in and plays just that
Mhm.
and stuff like that, and basically you can run around and get your own server that way.
Yeah.
But that's, like I said, those clubs are few and far between each other to do that. But I mean, I don't know. Yeah, it's just it's crazy to think that that's how GTA is now. It's wild.
Mhm.
So, but I mean, guess what? Everybody's gonna be playing 6 probably when it comes out. So, I mean, the online isn't. They haven't even talked about the online yet. They've only been talking about the actual, just the single player version variant of the game. So,
Yep.
well, which
Anyway,
apparently is uh forced Battlefield to push themselves back a year because they were hinting at a potential release for 6 or whatever it's going to be called later this year, but they completely
they
scrapped that
they
idea.
don't want to take the smoke.
Yeah, they don't want. I mean, I don't imagine any game being released. I mean, there will be some, but any considered AAA or large release game for the first month after GTA comes out, I guarantee it they won't be released because nobody wants to compete with that.
Mhm.
So, which is going to be interesting for holiday season because we're probably not going to get a whole lot of games.
Mhm.
So, or everybody's going to try to get them out before GTA so that way they can have people buying them before they play GTA. But
Possibly.
anyway, that's other video game talk.
You went on a little tangent there.
Yeah, I mean, that's what we do. That's why we get involved. We get stuck in the trap, the gravel trap. So
Mhm.
that's the name. All right. Moving on to our next topic. It is also game side related. Um, this article also by Traction. Project Motor Racing gets an autumn release for Windows, PC, and console. So the game formerly known as GT Revival is now called Project Motor Racing. We covered that in a previous podcast. A new sim racing game from the former reformed team behind the Project Cars and GTR series have been given an autumn release window in their new trailer. Unlike most every racing game released in 2025 so far, like Assetto Corsa Evo, it will be a full release rather than a work in progress and early access build release. Described as a motorsports first simulator or simulation, Project Motor Racing will feature over 70 vehicles across 10 racing classes and 27 track layouts when it is launched on PC and console later this year. Each class is said to be curated to ensure definitive grids of motor racing heroes from today and yesterday, with vehicles ranging from the modern LMDH hypercars and GT3s to classic GTs like the Morgan Arrow 8 GT and the TVR T400R. Other confirmed manufacturers include Audi, Lamborghini, Aston Martin. A full car list has yet to be revealed, but the trailer, narrated by none other than Le Mans racing legend Derek Bell, showcased the Audi R8 LMP 900 and the Lola T70 Mark 3B GT and the Lamborghini Huracan GT3 Evo 2 being put through their paces. The exact number of tracks is yet to be confirmed, but all 27 layouts are laser scanned with weather dynamic conditions, adaptive racing, dry lines, and 24-hour day to night cycles. Thanks to Straight Four Studios True to Track technology. Some of the confirmed locations include Lime Rock, Canadian Tire Motorsports Park, Kyalami, Nürburgring Nordschleife, to be shown in the trailer for the first time. See, the article continues to say that the game was known as GT Revival. The new racing simulator is set to use the Unreal 5 engine before switching to Giant Software's proprietary Giants engine, the same engine that powers the farming simulator games, but is built from scratch on a new Hedron physics engine. Will deliver unmatched handling realism at 720 hertz with most natural nonlinear throttle control, with a more natural nonlinear throttle control, and tire tread simulation running up to 10,000 hertz. Let's see. This is not about driving; it's about racing," said Ian Bell, CEO of Straight Four Studios. "With our streamlined approach and what considered to be the most authentic handling model we've ever created, Project Motor Racing is both a nod to our genre's rich legacy and a big step in the next direction, or the next step in era of simulation." So pre-orders are available now. It's being released on PC, PlayStation 5, Xbox Series X and S this autumn. Cross-platform play has been confirmed for this game. The game will be $5.99 or $59.99 US, with the standard edition including the GTE Decade pack featuring 7 cars from GT racing history. And the 1-year bundle is also available for pre-order for $89.99 USD, which includes all 4 DLC packs that come out in the following year. So, yeah, another sim racing game to look forward to coming this fall. I'm interested to see what more cars are in the game and what other tracks are available before I put down a pre-order.
All I
for the
know
game.
is you can do the R8 on Lime Rock. That's about all I've seen.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So-
I'm in the same boat as you, Sean. I want to see the full car and track list before I commit to buying it. So
I want to see more than just one track and gameplay of it.
Right.
I mean, for me, it's hard to. I was trying to watch the was it Overtake that had their first
I
impression
think it was
Yeah.
video,
Overtake.
but I couldn't really decipher very much from it, and for me, it's I want it to be more GTR 2 than Project Cars, and my fear is that with the rebranding and the redoing that they've done 2 or 3 times now, that it's going to end up like Project Cars. And I'm not saying Project Cars is a bad game, it's gonna fall for me in the same basket that ACC is right now, where it's like it's great in certain aspects, but nothing is capturing me to go play it constantly the way that iRacing and LMU are.
Right.
So and look, Ian Bell has a reputation. You can go online and read various pages and people's comments about how Ian Bell has conducted business over the last 20 years or so. Um, and unfortunately, it just seems like they're taking the playbook from Project Cars 1 and just repeating it. I mean, they got Ben Collins they're doing the test driving, as like the official test driver, just like he was for Project Cars. Um, it's cool that they have Derek Bell as the commentator, narrator for stuff. At least they did for the trailer. I don't know if he's gonna be, commentating throughout the game, kind of like a Jeremy Clarkson in Forza, with the Top Gear
That'd be
expansion
almost
kind
cool
of
to
thing.
see him like in like a car chief or a crew chief type
Yeah,
thing.
hmm
That'd be
yeah.
kind of cool.
So, and like I said, I have to. Project Cars wasn't a terrible game. There were certain elements that I liked, like the interactive crew chief, where you could be like, "Hey, the car's doing this. What do you recommend?" And like it would recommend certain things for people that didn't want to tinker for 15 hours to figure out that 2 millimeters you know change of the sway bar produced half a second of pace, that kind of thing. So
Hmm.
um I don't know. I'll wait and see what comes out and then make my decision on it. I'll probably end up getting it, but right now I'm not gonna be one of the pre-orders.
Right. Yeah.
I
That's
after the dumpster fire, Project Cars 3 was. I'm not impressed.
yeah. Yeah. That game was a mess.
I'm
But
sorry, but Ian Bell, that still lingers in my mind.
so yeah,
Well,
like
and I
you
mean,
said.
part of the reason why that he left SMS was because of everything that went down with Project Cars 3, which I get, but
Yeah. So yeah. Well, like I said, I'm with you, Zen. I'll wait to see till we get a track list, a car list. I mean, maybe if they announce the first or second DLC pack that's coming out and kind of go off that. I mean, worst case is if it comes out on Steam and you wait maybe 3-4 months, it'll probably be on a sale and you can get it for less than the full retail price. I mean, or go to CD Keys and see if they got a discount price on it. It's a I mean possibility that of it happening when it gets the official release, because I think the right now you can only actually pre-order the game through their website.
Yes, you can only through the website.
So that was something we didn't cover in that article, but yeah, once the game's actually released and stuff, like I said, I'm sure you'll be able to get it off of CD Keys for a cheaper price, or Steam for a cheaper price at a later date for a sale. Um, so yeah, just another game to kind of look forward to coming later this year. So, I don't know. Don, you looking forward to playing the game or meh?
Yeah,
Okay.
nothing
I mean,
crazy.
we still got the NASCAR game from iRacing coming out later this year too.
That's what
So,
I'm waiting for. Just to
but
see how that is.
all right. Switching up to our next topic here. Um, this article is from overtake.gg. So some unfortunate news in the world of sim racing peripherals. Was announced that Asetek Sim Sports is going to be ceasing shipping to the United States due to import tariffs by the United States government. Um, it says the hardware manufacturer is headquartered in Denmark, but will no longer ship to the United States as a result of tariffs. In their press release statement, says due to tariffs, Asetek has ceased all sim racing shipment to the United States, as well as major U.S. based customer electronic retailers have ceased purchase from China, which effectively means that at present no sales are being made inside the United States market. A statement goes on to say Asetek continues to focus on factors within its control. In 2024, approximately 2/3 of the company's production was based in China, 1/3 in Malaysia. This release continues for Asetek to be quite a big hit, as the release also explains that in 2024, approximately 50% of all total revenue in the sim sports segment was derived from sales in the United States market. The company does plan to at least mitigate the effects somewhat, as the release also highlights Asetek's anticipated a situation like this, and in response to potential additional tariffs on Chinese goods, Asetek will begin expanding production capacity in Malaysia late last year. This geographical diversification provided Asetek with a relative advantage. Stupid pop-ups. A geographical advantage to competitors with greater exposure in China-based manufacturing. So yeah, and then the article does go on to say, it says recently Fanatec had already raised its prices in North America to combat the tariffs and stuff like that. So yeah, unfortunate for anybody who's got an Asetek wheelbase or was looking at getting an Asetek wheelbase or wants to get an Asetek wheel or any of that stuff.
Oh boy.
Yikes.
Yeah, it was kind of interesting timing because that came out yesterday, and then this morning I got an email saying that the new Forte button boxes and stuff had been restocked in the U.S. store, and I was waiting to see if they would either confirm that if I could order from the global store, I wouldn't have to pay tariffs, or for them to restock the Forte wheel because I was ordering my round wheel at the time. And I couldn't get a straight answer, so I went with some Magic stuff that was in stock at a store up in Dallas, and I had to jump through hoops to get the stupid quick release from the US store, the USB-C version, because they were out of stock of the USB-A version. And yeah, so I'm done for now, but I don't know what's going to happen. I was contemplating their pedals with their upgrade that they have with the ABS module and stuff, but I think that's off the table now.
You better do it quite fast.
I ain't got the money to do it quick fast, I can tell you that. So to me, it makes their Invicta steering wheel completely non-competitive anymore. If they're going to put a price increase on it, it's already very expensive as it is.
They haven't really said anything on their website. I think they're just waiting until they have the meeting with all their partners in the US and whatnot.
Yeah, I mean, I was watching Matt Malone stream yesterday, and he was saying that I guess he's got a meeting with them on Thursday, so tomorrow, that I guess either he's going to be told more information to be able to disseminate that to his viewers, or because I mean, I saw people on the Asetek Reddit today talking about like what's going to happen with Matt, and his sponsorship deal, because he's, as far as I know, the only one that's really sponsored in the US, because Dave Cam's sponsored by him.
Yeah, but he's in UK.
Yeah.
What is Court? Who's Court sponsored by?
I think he's with Sim Magic now, I think I heard.
Okay.
So Basic Ollie is, but he's in the UK. So I mean, Matt's really kind of the biggest one that I can think of off the top of my head anyway. And a lot of Matt's viewer base is obviously in the US. So
Right.
I don't know if he's going to get updated on what the terms of that's going to be, or so.
Does this mean we're not going to see him at the Sim Expo then?
No, I would be shocked if he doesn't go. I mean, he's still a personality.
No, I'm talking about Asetek.
Oh
yeah, nope. They're probably, I don't imagine, if they're not.
I mean, I didn't see them on the vendor list to begin with when I was looking at who all was there. Yeah. So I saw SimiCube was there, but I don't remember seeing Ace Attack having a booth at the Sim Racing Expo in Chicago.
Right. So yeah, it's a huge blow to the sim racing market, especially in the U.S. And I mean, it sounds like it's going to be a huge financial blow to Ace Attack if 50% of their customers were in the United States. I mean, how do you justify that to shareholders?
Mhm.
And if it is a open company, I don't know if it is or not.
I mean,
Yeah, it
Ace
is.
Attack is just a
Yeah.
division. Yeah.
Yeah. So how do you
Well,
justify that to your shareholders that you've just lost, you potentially lost 50% of your
That's
profits?
all fine.
Well, I
but
mean, technically, it's not as big because they have their water cooling side and then their sim racing side.
yeah, but according to that same report, the water cooling actually, it sounded like they're trying to work a deal to have that bought by a different company, and they were only making 4 million in profit off of it. So the sim racing side has
Oh,
been
really?
far more profitable for them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, well, that
Um,
might be a bad time.
but I mean, it's just it's really crappy because you can't ramp up production that quickly in the US, and
Hmm.
it doesn't seem like the government is on board with, hey, if we give you a verbal commitment or whatever to build a factory in the next 2 years, like we'll be exempt from the taxes. That doesn't seem to be playing
Right.
out. And I mean, the crappy thing is there's US based sim racing companies that make peripherals and stuff, but they get a lot of the electronic components and circuit boards and stuff from overseas, from Malaysia,
Yeah.
China, Taiwan, and stuff, and all of those are subject to the tariff. And if anything is imported or built with imported parts, it's subject to the tariff, which is, really kind of shitty. I mean, GSI, which is just up the road from me in Dallas, they make great steering wheels, expensive steering wheels, but a lot of the switches and
Yeah.
circuitry and stuff comes from places in China. And, the fact is that the US does not have those facilities and will not have those facilities in the near term, if ever. And there's still some uncertainty about, is there like a volume limitation, like if you're a small if you just have
Hmm.
small orders, you're exempt from it. But I was reading, I think it was on Reddit today, that people were talking about just US based sim racing companies that produce products here in the US, and by and large everybody in some form or fashion has to import something to be able to make it. And people that make like the I'm going to butcher this name, but the Pollo Corny Engineering, like the DIY build your own steering wheels and button boxes and stuff,
Yeah.
Hmm.
like you can download the plans and 3D print the enclosures and stuff, but all the electronics and stuff that are spec for it come from Europe, and they're paying out the ass in tariffs here in the US just as a single person, just to order a couple pieces because of
Right.
what's enacted at the moment.
My biggest issue with this is the world's more connected than just America first.
Yeah, I mean,
The world's so interconnected that once you cut something off like that, it's gonna start hurting the world, but we're gonna feel the brunt of it.
yeah, I mean, not trying to get into politics too much on here, but yeah, the you can't, in my personal opinion, and maybe this is why I'm not a businessman, because maybe I'm not understanding something, but you can't enter into an isolationist type mentality with your economy and with your manufacturing and expect it to work. It's just there's too much that has transpired over the last 100 years that, like to your point, Chris, everything is so interconnected. You've got, specialty machines that come from certain places. I mean, fuck, when Tesla was building his goddamn factory down the road from my house here in Austin, he was flying in special robots on fucking Antonov planes because nobody else in the world made them except for where he got them from overseas.
And
Right.
then also Asetec, the reason why their quick release took so long is because they had to literally get a machine from Korea
Yeah.
to build it.
Hmm.
I mean, you've got Haas, who makes some of the best CNC machines in the world going, hey, we get some of these parts to repair and maintain our machines from overseas. We don't
Mhm.
make those parts. Like we make the machine. I mean, it's like your standard Chevy Silverado. You know, it's assembled and built here in the US, but it's assembled with globally sourced parts.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and one of the proposals that I saw was for automakers, they were going to put tariffs on anything that was less than 85% built in America. Like, you know, all the parts and stuff were made in America. There's only one car company that does that, and it's fucking Tesla.
Right.
So, you know, sorry, this is me, you know, putting on my tin hat, but it's not a coincidence that they picked 85% because they knew that they would outrule every other American manufacturer
Hmm.
at that point versus doing, you know, 60 or 70%. So it's just I don't understand it. And nothing I have seen come from the White House or the financial advisors or anything makes any actual sense for why the policies are in place right now.
Well, the worst thing is the policies are changing every day. It's the point where even the people at the dock can't even figure it out.
Yeah, and all you have is a bunch of yes men that don't actually answer questions when they're asked about
Right. Anyway,
But
before
Back
we
to the
go,
tent.
yeah, before we go ranting off about more
War.
political stuff because it's a
Right.
shit show. So anyway, yeah, unfortunate.
keep politics out of my sim racing.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So unfortunately for Ace Attack, they're really gonna have to, I mean, just have a hard look at what they're willing to put up with to keep selling sim racing equipment in the United States. So, obviously, as things change, we'll update and report back to it because I'm sure it's not done. It's definitely not done and over with. So, anyway, all right, that's kind of all I've got for the sim racing news side. Move on to motorsport news. This first article comes from the Gazette out of uh, duh, 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 um, not Pikes Peak, but yeah, uh, Colorado Springs. Sorry, brain fart. Um, it says that the Pikes Peak International Hill Climb is set to be televised later this year. So the annual Race to the Clouds is coming to a nearby television set. So for the first time in 103-year history of the Pikes Peak Hill Climb, the race will be televised live on TV on a cable channel. The network is called Racer Network. It was formerly known as MAV TV. Racer Network has blocked off 7 hours of coverage for the June 22nd event. Last year, MAV TV was acquired by another company and rebranded as Racer. It says following the success of a 4-part highlighted series that captured the hearts and souls of the 2024 Race to the Clouds, fans can look forward to more live racing in action and excitement under the Racer banner. The television network recently launched an app called Racer Plus. The app will combine to broadcast 300 plus live events in 2025, including the Pikes Peak International Hill Climb. Racers coverage will include long form behind the scenes storytelling and highlights. Um, it says they'll also be covering key events such as Thunder Hill. So, which we talked about that actually switching locations this year to the Ozarks International Raceway. So yeah, the 25 hours of Thunder Hill will be broadcast live on Racer as well. So for anybody who has cable TV. I can't, depending on what package you have. I have it on. I went and checked after I seen this article came out. I have it on my cable package. You can also get Racer Plus. I don't know how much it is a month. But yeah, if you want to watch Pikes Peak live, go check it out, or possibly Thunder Hill or some other. They also broadcast some of the ARCA races that that Fox or FS1 does not pick up. Generally, like the dirt track races that ARCA does and stuff like that. They also broadcast. They have a local. It's called a short track TV series, I guess. Just looking at the Racer Plus thing, which apparently has they do super mods. So
Sweet.
yeah. But yeah, I don't know. I'll be checking it out later this year. It'll be interesting. All right, moving on to some on-track news. This past week we had NASCAR at Talladega. Yeah, yeah. Highlights I have from this race.
Oh, is that many?
Yeah, not many.
Mm-mm.
It's criticized is a
Snoozer.
word to put for it. Yeah. So some of the highlights I have: Toyota formed a single pack early and decided to not play the fuel strategy game and push
All right.
right out the gate. Let's see here. Coming to the Coming to the pit stops. Keselowski ended up or coming into the pits. Busch hit Keselowski. And they ended up crashing coming onto pit road. So unfortunate for Kyle Busch and Brad. Cars were, Busch would continue, but Brad's day was pretty much done. Let's see here. Going back to green, Christopher Bell gets a bad push from Hamlin and collects Chris Buescher. Buescher was pretty pissed off at Hamlin about that.
And the spotter was too. Not spotter,
Yeah.
Cruise use.
Yeah. Let's see. Larson came away with the stage 1 victory. Let's see. SVG got a penalty in the pit box or penalty in the pits for speeding. Let's see. Suarez missed his pit stall completely. I think SVG on the first set of pit stops too missed his pit stop completely as well. So some issues with Trackhouse there and some pitting. They need to figure that out. And then stage 2, Bubba Wallace ended up picking up the win for stage 2. It was good to see Wallace get another stage victory. Also, some choice words from Joey Logano to Austin's to Cindric. Cindric didn't really help Logano get the stage victory. So Logano had some
choice words.
Yeah, MF'd him all over the place. So, and then stage 3, surprisingly clean for a Talladega race. Just I don't know, just goes to show that the difficulty of this package with the way the cars are. Yeah. Austin Cindric did come away with a win, so good for him. First win of the year, locks him into the playoff round early. So he went over and freaking picked up Regan Smith and started carrying him around. That was hilarious. So let's see here. And then post race, Ryan Preece and Joey Logano were both disqualified for spoiler violations. So
spoiler alert.
Yeah.
Good thing Priest didn't win, because that would be a lot worse.
Right. So yeah, like I said, the super speedway package, the cars can't get out of line and pass each other, which makes it difficult to do anything if you don't have 4 or 5 cars lined up to help you out at the end. So if
Too much drag on this car. Just need to cut
Yep.
the spoiler down.
it's not even the spoiler. I mean the top part of the car is making hardly any of the downforce. It's
Yeah.
all the underside of the car.
Yep.
It's yeah. I don't know. They need, again, just like the short track package, they need to do something with the super speedway package.
Yeah,
I
it's real
mean, more. I mean, I know they don't want more horsepower because where the NASCAR's in this freaking box right now where they're so afraid to have a car flip over that they don't want to touch anything with it. So,
But yet the car
but,
keeps trying to flip over too.
yeah, I don't know. Yeah, they need to do something with this car, otherwise it's gonna get
Really bad, real quick.
yeah. So.
Uh,
Yeah.
well,
That's all I got to say for this.
Yeah, nothing too much more. I was kind of I burned $1 on my bet though. That's all I know.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. I won 12 cents.
12 cents.
Thank
Oh
you.
boy.
Thanks to Logano and Priest getting disqualified, bumped all my other drivers up 2 positions. So, yeah, I don't know. Anybody else got anything they want to add about the Cup Series race?
I love Cindric's marks with Dale Jr. on this podcast after the
Yeah.
fact.
Oh, that was wild to see Chipper Jones get involved online too.
Yeah, and Logano's comments back, Jim, you're not helping yourself there, buddy. Yeah.
Yeah.
You know. So.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't know, like it's like Junior said, I didn't know Chipper was such a huge NASCAR fan. Like that was straight up irate fan tweet right there, man. That was hilarious. So yeah, and then yeah, like you said on Dale Jr.'s podcast, Cindric said that he had a Braves hat in his car when he went to the team meeting, and Junior's like, "You should have put that shit on, man." Come walking in with the trophy and the Braves hat on. So yeah, let's see here. Well, keeping along with the NASCAR theme topic, we'll kind of jump over one article here to talk about another one. So NASCAR announced the format for the 2025 All-Star race coming up here close to the end of May. So really everything kind of stays the same as far as, how the drivers get into the All-Star race and how they go in from the open into the actual race. The only kind of difference is that they're introducing this promoter's caution to be used prior to lap 220. If it has not been used and a natural caution falls after lap 200, it will no longer be in play. There will also be a competition caution near lap 100. NASCAR All-Star race continues to evolve and of the most fun and innovative event of our calendar. That's what John Probst, NASCAR Executive Vice President and Chief Racing Development Officer, said. He also continued to stay returning to historic North Wilkesboro for a 3rd year in a row. Allows us to honor our sports roots while pushing the envelope with fresh competitive elements, introducing the introduction of the manufacturer showdown brings a new layer of intensity and pride from our OEM partners and fans that can expect an even more strategy, teamwork, and drama on race day. Also, this season is the All-Star Open and All-Star Race qualifying, which will be combined now. This puts every pit crew eligible for the pit crew challenge with the All-Star Open teams going first. The results from qualifying will determine the lineup for the All-Star Open. The All-Star Race teams will be second in the Pit Crew Challenge and determine the lineup for the heat races. Pit crew with the fastest time will be declared the winner. The All-Star Open remains 100 laps. And the advanced 3 drivers into the All-Star race. The top 2 finishers will advance along with the fan vote winner. Heat races will be 60 laps each to determine the starting lineup for the All-Star race. The inside row of the All-Star race will be determined from the first heat, while the outside will be from the second. Let's see. In the 40-year history, there has never been so much on-track action across the event weekend, said Jessica Fickenshire, executive director of NASCAR All-Star Race. And with so much competition from pit crews to the manufacturers to the race teams and drivers, the biggest All-Star winner will be the fans, with all they get to see what's become America's throwback racetrack, North Wilkesboro Speedway. The entire week is truly the most jam-packed entertainment value in motorsports. So yeah, like I said, they've introduced this promoter's caution that they calling it.
Like
Well-
how DBC called the Dale Jr. caution back in the day.
Yeah.
I was watching something with Kyle Busch, and it was like, let's put a drunk fan in the flag box.
I love that.
And every 10 laps, he's going to take a drink, and when he falls over, we throw the caution.
Yeah.
I mean, the part that pisses me off about this is, and it kind of segues into the next topic, because I was listening to Dale Jr. talk about it, and I really fully agreed with him. But to me, it's just another example of how disconnected NASCAR's front office is with what the fans want. And it's the same thing that's plaguing IndyCar right now. And, the All-Star race should be a time when they're trying new things that are actually going to better the action on the track, which is all that fans want. They don't want fucking gimmicky cautions and, all these damn stupid formats and stuff. It's just go back to what worked.
Right.
You had the pit stop competition, you had all those sorts of things. You didn't have fucking let's drive left for 50 laps and then park it and go get in golf carts and drive right for 50 laps, and then let's see who can do somersaults down pit lane the furthest. Like, fuck me, man. Like Kyle Busch said, Chris, you brought it up. Kyle Busch said, if we're gonna be Barnum and fucking Bailey, be Barnum and fucking Bailey.
Yeah.
Let's also remember what happened to them. They don't exist no more.
Right. On the caution side, the caution thing is not as egregious as some things they've done in the past with the All-Star race. The Cars Tour if they get more than 50 laps of green flag running, they will throw a competition caution or whatever they call it. SRX did it too. So, if done right, it can help.
The problem is that NASCAR and cautions in the same sentence very rarely involve being right.
I know. Well,
the rare exception was the Xfinity race at Talladega. That was right.
Right.
Contrary to what fans said, but
hell, if it's a promoter's caution, Marcus Smith is going to be the promoter of the race. He's good friends with Dale Earnhardt Jr. Jr. runs the Cars Tour, and they do the competition cautions every 50 laps. Just get Jr. in the fucking control tower and let him go, all right, we've had more than 50 laps of racing. Let's throw the yellow, re-rack him, send him again.
Rack him and stack him.
He just starts running it like a Cars Tour race. So... if you get Junior out there, hell, have him on the flag stand, throw in the yellow. Shit, that'll bring fans in.
Mm-hmm.
So, you want to make fans happy. Yeah, just get Junior out there on the freaking flag stand. I guarantee if Junior's out there calling the yellows, nobody's going to say anything bad.
I'm sure there'll be a Jimmy Johnson fan that'll say something bad.
I mean, and if somebody does say something bad to him, well, you're in the heart of North Carolina, and he's an Earnhardt, so you're gonna have fans dragging you out and tar and feathering you.
Yeah, that's fair.
Jesus Christ, I forgot about that.
Yeah. So anyway, yeah, that kind of transitions to our next all-star topic here is NASCAR apparently informed the teams that they could potentially do a rung what you brung proposal for North Wilkesboro. Says although safety components and of the race would be off limits, NASCAR would have let the teams use their ingenuity to modify the cars. At the heart of the idea that was that it might lead to finding something that could be done on the next gen car to improve short track racing that has been widely criticized since 2022. There's no better test than real world applications and competitive race. The garage, however, didn't bite on the idea. A part of its concerns, but not the sole reason, were costs. We were hoping to accomplish with the quote unquote run what you brung idea was put it more into the team's hands. Mike Ford, NASCAR Managing Director of Racing Communications, on this week's edition of Hauler Talk podcast, stated, and if we see a particular car be able to run through the field easier or better, yet go from fifth to third, then drop back to sixth, but make its way back up fourth or higher, we'd be able to talk with those teams and say, okay, what did you do to your car? Um, yeah, and then Denny Hamlin leaned heavily into the aspect of this week when waiting to address the idea on his podcast. Yeah, you can go listen to that to listen to Denny's talk about that. He did some of the highlights I'll hit on that though, is he did say that he's roughly going to spend over $1 million on parts and pieces for one car that he can't even use in another race. Doesn't make financial sense, which I mean, honestly, I agree with Denny on that side. It's you're really trying to open Pandora's box here with doing that. But yeah.
Well, the part is that NASCAR stance is, well, it's not going to cost the teams any money because even though we're saying it's run what you brung, we're limiting the areas that the teams could actually make modifications. And none of the areas involve the fucking engine. Which, if NASCAR was serious about letting teams dictate what was going to improve the car, they would have put fucking 900 horsepower and not touched anything else and said, let's see what that does.
Well, it was the problem was that Denny had is it was too vague. Like there was he couldn't get clarification on what was allowed or not allowed to be modified.
Well, according to the article and what Ford said, and supposedly this is what was proposed all the way back in early March, was that the areas that teams would be allowed to play with was ride heights, nose weight, what diffuser they wanted to use, the underbody stakes, and the spoiler brace. So it's all aerodynamics and ride height. That's all it is.
Right.
Which I'm not an expert, but none of that seems on the surface to be what the short track package needs because it's not going to come into play. They don't get up to a high enough speed outside of the nose weight to make any sort of fucking difference.
Right.
But you put more power in the damn car, that's going to make a difference.
Right.
And that's what all of the drivers have said. That's what all of the teams have said. And it's the one thing that continues to be not allowed from NASCAR.
Right.
And the fact is that in this generation of car where everything is standardized, it should not be up to the teams to decide what is going to make the car better. when they've already given feedback to NASCAR over 2.5, 3 years, and NASCAR's not listening to it. The teams, if I was a team owner, I would have said, fuck you, NASCAR. We've told you what needs to be done to fix the car. How about you go pull from that list that we've sent you and continue to send you, and then come back and tell us what we can do?
Right.
Personally, that's what I would have done. This is NASCAR doing the barest minimum to go to the fan base and go, hey, we're trying to make the product better, like we said we were, and the teams aren't cooperating with it. Boo hoo. Sorry, fans. Don't be mad at us. That's what
Right.
this is.
It's okay. We also get a wonderful commercial break with 8 laps to go.
That's
I know
that's
it's
not
boring.
NASCAR.
I
That's
know.
that's
It's
the
not
broadcast
boring.
side.
That
That
was
has
just
nothing to
terrible.
do with.
I'm just saying everything's just terrible with it. It's like there's nothing going on. It's like this Huck commercial.
Yeah, that's that's another that's
Uh,
something completely different. But
Back to the tent, Don. Back to the tent.
yeah. Uh, yeah. I agree with you that that's NASCAR's attempt to go. Oh, look, we offered to give the teams what they want, but they shot it down.
Yeah.
yep.
So
It's the easiest way for them to pitch that and say, look, we gave the teams an opportunity to fix the car. They didn't want to play ball. The teams are the ones that are hindering the progress of the car, blah 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 blah.
right. So yep. Yeah, I just don't know.
But on the flip side, this right here should be used as example number one to any fucking person that's a fan of IMSA or whatever that talks about, well, get rid of BOP. Let's just make it a Run Richard Brung series. Not even NASCAR wants to do it. Shut up.
Yeah, right. Well, NASCAR owns IMSA, so
hmm
so yeah. Yeah, that's pretty much all I got to say for that. So I guess we can move on to our next topic here.
I thought that was the last topic.
Nope, no, to kind of make things more
Move around,
symmetrical,
okay.
I had skipped over the Super GT news, so we'll just hit on this real quick. So more sanctioning bodies meddling for cost reasons. So the GT500 manufacturers react to single engine per season plans. This article is by Sportscar 365. So manufacturers have responded positively to tentative plans laid out by the GTA. That's the sanctioning body that runs Super GT. To effectively ban in-season engine developments in future seasons by moving from 2 engines per season to a single unit. Engine development has long been the core tenet of the battle between Toyota, Honda, and Nissan for supremacy at the top category of the Japanese series. With current rules permitting each team to use 2 engines over the course of the season. This allows manufacturers to introduce new and improved units for the second half of the season, often referred to as Spec 2 engines. However, in his regular press conference ahead of this month's opening round of the season at Okayama, GTA chairman Masahiki Bando, I'm probably screwing that name up profusely, outline a desire to cut down on single engines in the future. In the name of cost reduction, this would affect ban in-season engine development and restrict the manufacturers to introducing new specific specifications in the start of each year. The corporate vice president of Nissan's NMC division that oversees the brand's Super GT activities has come out in support of this proposal. He told Sportscar 365 all 3 manufacturers considered sustainability to be the top priority for Super GT. And for that reason, lowering costs in the long term is important. As part of this policy, all the 3 manufacturers are discussing with the GTA whether to reduce the number of engines used during the season to 1 unit. It will be a technical challenge, but Nissan supports this development. Toyota Gazoo Racing Director of Global Motorsports, Masaya Kajai, probably again screwing that name up. Also threw his weight behind the plans, although he stressed the importance of maintaining the current performance level of the GT500 cars. He also went on to tell Sports Car 365, basically, we are positive because the costs for the powertrains are gradually increasing and the manufacturers are struggling for budgets. As a top category, we have to keep engine competition and high performance. We don't want to lose this. So the difficulty is how can we maintain the performance? However, he did go on to say that making design changes to the engine to be ready for rule changes as early as next year would be tough, suggesting that that its implementation might be delayed until all three manufacturers can be confident of reliability. Honda Super GT project leader Masahiro Saiki offered a similar statement when asked by reporters about the topic post race at Okayama. If we are talking about doing it for the next year, it would be difficult. We would be using the same equipment during intermediate maintenance, but I believe it's important to include checks and minor adjustments, things that can be adjusted without replacing parts. He also added the performance overall would be lowered in the GT500 category should the move go ahead. During the same press conference, they also talked about this year's race distance with 5 of this year's 8 rounds running to the basic 300-kilometer format and only 2 long distance 3-hour races at Fuji and Autopolis. Marks a shift away from the proliferation of the 350 and 450-kilometer races that have been featured in recent calendars. But it was explained that they are encouraging tire and engine manufacturers to prioritize durability over peak performance. When asked by Sports Car 365 on the shift, it also comes against the backdrop of the series returning to racing overseas for the first time since 2019 at Sepang. But said that it would further development on tires and engines would be needed to make a return to a larger amount of longer races financially stable or sustainable. Sorry. It's not that we have returned having shorter races. It's rather that we have to find a way to balance costs and environmental factors. We want to have tires that last longer and engines that last with a longer life. We don't want to increase the number of sets of tires unless we have tires that can last for a long time, with one set lasting one over an hour. It's difficult to do long races. We consider this as well as the fuel consumption and what kind of burden this places on the teams as far as costs. We believe that longer races are more entertaining. We think that something like a 470-kilometer would be the most interesting format if you consider fuel consumption. Of course, we've considered many different options, including a 500 km race like we used to, or the 1000 km race like we used to do at Suzuka when we were included with the Intercontinental GT Series races in past. So yeah, so they're looking to doing this as a way to keep the GT500 series alive due to dwindling manufacturers participating in said series, at least as far as the 500 category goes. The 300 category is definitely way more popular because that essentially just uses the GT3 format of cars. So, I mean, there's a couple of specialty homologated cars that aren't technically GT3 cars that run in the 300 series or 300 class, but yeah, for the most part, it's populated by the GT3 cars. So yeah, I mean, if it keeps costs down, keeps the series alive. I know it's kind of a nostalgia person. I always liked the Super GT cars, because when we used to play the old Gran Turismo games and stuff like that, the old JGTC cars and stuff, were always fun to play around with and race and stuff in those games. So yeah, that's all I got for that. I don't know if anybody has any other opinions on that article. So
I got nothing.
okay.
Nope.
All right. If nobody has any other motorsports related topics,
No, I got
can
nothing.
call this episode. Let's see. This weekend they've got NASCAR at Texas.
Boo.
I think Formula One is back this weekend. They're in
Miami.
IndyCar.
Yeah, they're in Miami. Yeah. IndyCar at Barber this week?
Maybe.
I think so.
Checking.
Yeah, because they're racing.
We are checking. We are checking.
Yep. Yeah, IndyCar's at Barber this week.
Yeah.
IMSA is. Are
Oh,
they running at Montreal or running at Laguna Seca?
No.
It
Is that
is-
next week?
Yeah, it's next weekend.
Yeah, next weekend. Okay, so no.
Speaking of Laguna, they announced today that they've entered into a long-term deal with Tire Rack as the primary sponsor for the race. So it's now the TireRack.com Monterey Grand Prix at Long Beach.
Oh my God.
Or not at Long Beach, at Laguna.
Yeah.
And then they also have a big advertisement on the tire bridge that's between turns 3 and 4.
Okay.
So that's a partnership between Tire Rack and the Friends of Monterey, which have the ownership and control of the track after that legal battle that they went through. So nice injection of money into the track, and I guess with the reworking of the bridge and stuff and the new advertisement, it's further steps taken on the improvement for fan experience and whatnot that the track's been going through for the last few years.
cool.
All right. So yeah, like I said, we'll be back next week covering those races and then any more sim racing or off-track news that develops.
Just hopefully the track's not a snoozer. Texas is so boring.
I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah, I mean the car's better there, but
Right. So, all right, we'll talk to everybody next week. See you later.
See
Bye.
you later.
bye.
See you.